And welcome everyone. My name is Dr. Terry Van Alstyne. I'm a naturopathic doctor, and tonight I'll be talking about detoxification, Detox 101. And it is about detoxifying the mind as well as the body. So we need to detoxify the mind because our thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions impact our health. This has been proven scientifically. They change enzyme structure, and therefore they change our physiology. Once enzymes change, they bind to different receptors, causing different actions to occur within cells. And we are just a pile of trillions of cells that make up our glands, organs, tissues, muscles, bones, brain, nerves, etc. So, in addition to the receptors changing, and because of our thoughts, and therefore our physiology changing because of our thoughts, what we fear, we attract or create in our bodies and in our life. I've met many patients who developed the diseases that they feared most because of an impact of, someone being sick with that disease when they were a child, or usually it occurs in childhood when we develop our thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions, and basically our subconscious beliefs. And that's when many fears develop as well. So it is so important that we are not afraid and that we feel like we're in control. And basically, we're radio towers sending out our frequencies. And this is why we need to detoxify our minds as well as our bodies. The mind is so powerful. So Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about the physiology of belief. You can look at some of the books that he's written. So, because that's where he's proved it scientifically. So mental detoxification, be very aware of thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions. Let's be curious rather than judgy. Let's be an observer without an opinion. The easiest way to do this is to meditate regularly. To meditate every day, Deepak Chopra recommends half an hour in the morning and half an hour at night. By meditating, we can become light, happy, positive, and realize that it's not good for us to take life too seriously. We need to have more fun, and we can manifest anything we want to by being positive, basically. I'm listening to a great book right now, an audiobook. It's called The Astonishing Power of Emotions, and it's by Esther and Jerry Hicks. I highly recommend it. And I've met people that have manifested everything they wanted to, and it looks like it was against all odds, but we can all do the same. So we are all interconnected, and looking for similarities and commonalities rather than differences is best. When we think a negative thought, let's catch ourselves and switch it to a positive one, or say cancel in our mind, or think of something to be grateful for, or at least create a neutral thought. Envision what you want your body and your life to look like and feel like, and think about this every day. You may want to write it down and attach pictures, make a vision board. It's important during this detox to not think we are being deprived of our favorite foods, but rather to think about being kind to our liver and helping it do its very important job of detoxification. So, physical detoxification, we'll be talking about the detox organs, the physiology involved, toxin exposure, and functions of the liver. So all of these organs are involved in detoxification. The lungs breathe out toxic air. The liver filters out toxins. The kidneys allow some toxins to be eliminated through the urine. The bowels allow the rest of the toxins to be eliminated through the feces. The stomach's involved, the pancreas, the spleen, and the heart, as well as the brain. And this is what our intestinal tract looks like. The liver is at the top. It's on our top right, just underneath that rib cage. There's the gallbladder, the stomach, spleen, small intestine in the middle, large intestine around the outside, and the appendix is the little worm-like structure that is close to where the small intestine meets the large intestine. And the bladder's at the bottom. And so here it shows a closer up picture of the liver, gallbladder, stomach, duodenum leading into the small intestine. And there's the pancreas down below. So basically, when we chew food, we grind it and break it down. It goes into the stomach, down the esophagus into the stomach. The stomach secretes hydrochloric acid to break down the larger structures of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates into smaller single units, and it churns it. It physically churns it, and then that food goes down into the duodenum. And if there's fat in the food, the gallbladder will secrete some bile into the stomach to emulsify the fat, the way dish soap emulsifies fat. And then the food goes into the small intestine, but the pancreas will also secrete digestive enzymes into the stomach to help digest that food and break it down as well. And this is a graph that shows what happens with the blood. So the heart pumps out oxygen-rich blood, which is the red lines, out the aorta, and that first goes into the hepatic artery, which goes into the liver, and then it's used by the liver, then it becomes deoxygenated, and that becomes the blue lines that go up out the blood out of the hepatic veins to the inferior vena cava and back into the heart. That oxygen-rich blood can also go into the small intestine at the bottom of the chart, be utilized by it, and then become oxygen poor, but nutrient rich, and then go to the hepatic portal vein into the liver and back up into the heart to be pumped out to all the cells of the body. So it's got all the nutrients in it. That blood can also go from the liver to the hepatic ducts, and bile gets secreted into it, and then that goes into the small intestine. So that will happen when there's fat in it. Most nutrient absorption takes place in the small intestine. So this picture shows you what the small intestine looks like on the inside. So it's made up of villi, hair-like structures, all along the inside, and on each hair is a bunch of minute little hairs around each one. And so it's all about increasing surface area, because when there's more surface area, we're going to be able to absorb more nutrients and transfer them into the bloodstream, which is directly below this single-celled layer of epithelial lining, the small intestinal lining. So why do we detoxify? Well, toxins cause diseases such as cancer and other chronic diseases, which are all on the rise. And we are being bombarded with them more and more all the time, more and more every day. They're in our air, our water, our food. They're in chemicals we're exposed to at work and at home. And they are in body products, they're on clothing, etc. There's 80,000 metric tons of chemicals released into the air every year in North America. 2,100 chemicals are in most water supplies. So recently, it's come to the media's attention that our water in North America is full of lead, and our water in Canada is even worse than Flint, Michigan, which was really bad. And lead's the only thing that they've come out with so far, but it is full of arsenic, cadmium, mercury, chlorine, fluoride, and drugs, and pesticides, and glyphosates from the pesticides. So it's loaded, and it's really toxic, and we definitely need a decent water filter. And so please listen to my webinar on water. There's over 80% of foods have genetically modified ingredients. Here in North America, in Europe, they're not allowed. Genetically modified foods have been proven to cause cancer. Nearly every chemically laden food today was developed after 1960, and cancer rates since 1960 have skyrocketed. So our increased cancer rates equal the chemical growth since World War II. So from the 70s to the 90s, leukemia's up 72%, male birth defects have doubled, childhood brain cancer is up 47%, autism's up 10 times, and these increases are not due to genetics. Are we being protected from poison? Doesn't look like it. Chemicals once thought to be harmless are now known to be otherwise, yet our government is still allowing their production and use. In 1971, the US Surgeon General thought blood lead levels of 40 micrograms per deciliter were safe. We now know that any detectable lead in the blood causes neurological damage. The Environmental Protection Agency approves 90% of chemicals without restrictions. Toxic Substances Control Act of 1976 forces the government to approve new chemicals within 90 days at an average of 7 new chemicals per day. There's 82,000 chemicals in use in the US, and only 1/4 are tested for toxicity. So over time, it's the accumulation of toxins that will choke off our life force and be part of the cause of our health decline, a big part, and will cut off our quality of life and shorten the length of our life. So when and how do we start accumulating toxins? Actually, they start when we are fetuses inside of our mothers, and we are absorbing the toxins from our mother's blood, as she absorbed the toxins from her mother's blood, and it goes all the way back to when DDT was sprayed in parks and added to food for flavoring, and people were putting it in their gardens, and people were told that it was healthy. So we've got DDT in us because it's been passed down generation after generation. Industrial chemicals, pollutants, and pesticides cross the placenta as readily as residues from cigarettes and alcohol. There's 287 toxic chemicals found in umbilical cords in 10 babies tested. On average, 200 chemicals in each placenta, and therefore in each baby. And I know that in breast milk, they found jet fuel and all kinds of crazy toxic chemicals. So which chemicals are we talking about? Well, pesticides, 90% in use or in food production. So the food is sprayed with it and the food absorbs it right into it. There are foods like cucumbers, English cucumbers, that are sprayed with a wax that's combined with pesticides. So you have to peel them. And pesticides are all fat soluble. So they get stored in our fat tissue as well. So that's why it's so important to eat organic whenever you can, or grow your own. Consumer product ingredients, flame retardants and fungicides. Fungicides are on all new clothing. Flame retardants are on couches, bedding, curtains, etc. Waste from burning coal, gasoline, garbage, crop row covers, those are all in the air. And what's the impact? Of the 287 chemicals tested, 180 cause cancer, 217 are toxic to the brain and nervous system, and 208 cause birth defects or abnormal development. That's been proven in animal tests, not human, but we can assume. If that's not enough, chemicals from plastics mimic the female hormone estradiol, causing all of the estrogenic cells to proliferate, like in the breast, uterus, and ovaries, which can lead to cancer. What are environmental chemicals that mimic estrogen doing to us? Just ask Nemo. Feminization of male fish. Male fish have been shown to develop early stage eggs and infertility, so they're turning into female fish, and it could very well be impacting us as well in that way. Infertility is on the rise for sure. And it's not only the fish, it's also alligators, crocodiles, frogs, etc. So not only intersex fish, but they're now on Prozac and Zoloft antidepressants. So pesticides, herbicides, so basically all of the drugs go into the water system as well, because they're not separating sewage water from drinking water in the end. They're not filtering out those toxins that we are eliminating from our bodies. They're not, like, it's all ending up in the drinking water. It's not being filtered out, which is ridiculous. Pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, PCBs, and drugs are now in our water supply. A 2003 study at Baylor University, Texas, found fish from a creek downstream of a sewage treatment plant had active ingredients of Prozac and Zoloft. And other active ingredients found were birth control pills, heart medications, antibiotics, recreational drugs. Cocaine's been found in salmon in the Pacific. It's pretty scary. And, you know, we're supposed to be drinking plenty of water. Most of us are super dehydrated, in fact. But do you really want to be drinking water? At least tap water? Municipal treatment plants neither detect nor detoxify the water of the majority of chemical pollutants. But they do add aluminum to remove organic material, and this is a metal linked to cognitive neurological decline, such as Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, MS, ADD, ADHD, and ALS. All neurological diseases are, people are toxic with metals, heavy metals, and aluminum's a light metal, but same category. Fluoride is highly toxic. Chlorine is added to kill microorganisms, which is highly toxic. Chlorine plus aluminum creates trihalomethanes, which are highly toxic, and have been proven to increase the risk of bladder and rectal cancers. A nice chemical soup. Signs and symptoms of toxic accumulation. So this liver is very toxic. It's actually sclerosed. So that's what alcohol does to the liver, and high amounts of toxins. So basically, most diseases are linked to high levels of toxins, among other causes. But chronic fatigue, memory loss, premature aging, skin disorders, cancers, arthritis, hormone imbalances, anxiety, emotional disorders, autoimmune disorders, heart disease, to name a few. So what happens is toxins form a physical barrier, blocking cells from absorbing oxygen and nutrients. And so the cells can't function properly. And they also can't eliminate, because they're being blocked by toxins, they can't eliminate what they're supposed to be making. And they can't detoxify themselves. So what about our food? Strawberry flavoring ingredients, anyone? So this is real. This is what is making up fake strawberry flavoring. It's completely toxic chemicals. All conventional foods are contaminated. Don't trust any non-organic food, as they're all sprayed and we don't know how much. Even organic produce is sprayed early in the growing season. Ideally, we would grow our own food organically as our ancestors did. Some of the worst sprayed foods are Apples, apricots, bell peppers, cantaloupe, celery, cucumbers, cherries, grapes, green beans, peaches, spinach, strawberries, broccoli, and cauliflower. So it's very important to be soaking these in, well, with my new water filter, I'm soaking it in the high alkaline water, which helps to pull the toxins, the pesticides out. As I mentioned, cucumbers are sprayed with wax containing pesticides, so they need to be peeled. And if you don't have the best water filter, which ideally you will get, but if you don't have one, then soak for 15 to 20 minutes in a sink of diluted food grade hydrogen peroxide or a natural vegetable wash. So that's part one. Part two. So now we know why to detox, but how. The body is incredible and it knows how to release the poisons. So this looks scary, but this is what's involved in detoxification in the liver. So there's two phases, phase one and phase two. Phase one on the left, phase two on the right. And basically, what's happening is toxins are being made from fat soluble to water soluble so they can be released through the urine and the feces. And in the process, in the middle, there's intermediary metabolites released. So basically, free radicals are being released halfway through. And if we don't have enough antioxidants in our bodies, these free radicals will cause damage and age us and potentially cause disease. So you see those those furry looking things, that's where free radicals are being created. So, and underneath each part is a list of the nutrients required for that phase to occur, that phase of detoxification. So you can see the second list under enzymes, cofactors, and other nutrients used: vitamin B2, B3, B6, folic acid, B12, glutathione, branched chain amino acids, flavonoids, which are in all the berries, and phospholipids. So in order for us to properly detoxify phase one, we need all of those things. And in phase two, on the right, we need all of these things. We need all these amino acids, which are the breakdown units of protein: glycine, taurine, glutamine, ornithine, arginine. And we need NAC, N-acetylcysteine, at the bottom. It's a precursor to glutathione, and it's also required for phase two detoxification. And then you can see on the far right, the toxins are then released through either the bile into the feces or into the blood, serum, to the kidneys, and out the urine. So how do we detox? What does the liver do? Well, there are more than one organ involved. As I showed you, the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, the skin, the lymphatic system, they're all important, but the liver is the key. And when it's properly functioning, it will protect us from environmental poisons unless we're being completely overwhelmed with them. So there's Kupffer cells in the liver that remove dead cells. They remove bacteria and foreign substances from the blood. And hepatocytes, which are the liver cells, detoxify heavy metals, detoxify chemicals and drugs, alcohol, and hormones. When liver storage reaches a maximum, toxins spill out into the blood and get stored in fat cells. And the liver stores vitamins and minerals. It produces bile to break down fats and oils, and it disarms and imprisons bacteria and viruses. So the liver does 2,000 things, actually, and toxin filtration is a big one. So, as I mentioned, there's two phases. You don't need to know the details of it, but the goal is to break down toxins, and it results in very volatile intermediates, which are basically free radicals, and they cause damage to the body's cells, age us, and cause disease unless we can quench them with antioxidants. So we talked about phase 2, that's called conjugation. It's binding the substance to make it water soluble to prepare it for elimination in the feces or urine. And both phase 1 and phase 2 need to be in balance. It's like an assembly line production. So how do we support detox? First of all, don't inhibit it. So what inhibits it? Well, the list below inhibits phase 1. So as we get older, it becomes inhibited. Antidepressants, antihistamines, but essentially all drugs will inhibit it. Antacids as well. Grapefruit and grapefruit juice. Hydrogenated fats like margarine, lard, shortening. The fats and oils in meat actually inhibit phase 1. Intestinal imbalances, so not producing enough digestive enzymes, for example. Iron overload and birth control pills, they all inhibit phase 1. So if we're on any of these medications or eating grapefruit regularly or drinking grapefruit juice or eating hydrogenated fats, we will not be able to detoxify our bodies properly. Phase 2 inhibitors are aspirin, Tylenol, etc., ibuprofen. So to assist in phase 1 detox, we need lots of antioxidants. So they're in all the berries. So my favorite are the wild organic blueberries that Costco has, the frozen ones. But all berries contain high amounts of antioxidants. B vitamins assist in phase 1. The easiest way to get them is to take a B complex. We actually need extra B vitamins anyways because most of us are under a lot of stress and our adrenal glands burn up vitamin C and B vitamins. Flavonoids, these are also in the berries. Minerals, ideally we'd be taking a multi-mineral. Most of us are deficient in minerals because our bodies are acidic. And when our bodies are acidic, the bloodstream becomes acidic and it will pull minerals out of the bones and tissues to alkalinize so we don't die and we lose those minerals. Magnesium's a big one that most of us are deficient in, but there's a whole list of macro minerals that we're low in because of acidity. Our water's super acidic as well. And coffee and alcohol and meat and grains and dairy, it's all acidic, but fruits and vegetables are alkaline. So glutathione helps with phase 1 detox, and the liver makes it, but we can take a product called NAC, N-acetylcysteine, because it's a precursor and it makes glutathione. We can also do IVs with glutathione. So I do IV pushes, or I add glutathione to the end of an IV nutrient bag, and that stimulates detoxification. It also is the master antioxidant and it boosts the immune system. Milk thistle is a herb that really stimulates phase 1. Berries, as I mentioned, mangoes, apricots, leeks, onions, garlic, eggplant, pumpkin, leafy greens, carrots, all help, and green tea or matcha also assists in phase 1. In phase 2, we need cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale, cabbage. NAC, again, and acetylcysteine, glutathione, but NAC creates it unless you get glutathione in an IV. Amino acids, you can take an amino acid complex, which are the single units of protein, or you eat protein and ideally you're digesting it properly and your body's able to break it down into these amino acids. B vitamins, minerals, again, so B complex is important, and multi-mineral is important. Milk thistle, again, ensures proper bile flow. That's the herb. And bile salts are reabsorbed in the small intestine, and the remaining bile with toxins is bound with fiber in the large intestine and excreted in feces. So we definitely need to ensure that our elimination system's working properly, that we are having good bowel movements and often. So if we're eating 3 times a day, we should be going 3 times a day. And a lot of people have colon full. lined with thick black toxic tar. And the only way to get it out is through colonic hydrotherapy. An average 25-year-old male has 10 pounds of impacted fecal matter, and female. I certainly did when I was 25. And it all came out in my first colonic, and I filled the toilet to the top rim with thick black tar, toxic tar, at least 10 pounds. So I highly recommend it. Heavy metal detox. So a heavy metal detox requires binders. So we need to bind those metals to something, and cilantro is excellent. Barley grass juice extract, spirulina, Atlantic dulse. Requires fiber in vegetables and fruits. It requires water to flush toxins, ideally with lemon or lime. The water should be alkaline and properly filtered. And for optimal liver function, we need to decrease the fats, oils, and protein because it's too hard on the liver. The liver needs a break from producing bile and producing hydrochloric acid, or assisting in the production of, and it needs to focus on toxin elimination. So, heavy metal detox, these are all important aspects: the barley grass juice, the spirulina, the cilantro, the wild blueberries, the Atlantic dulse. You can see what they all do, but basically they're all binding to the metals. Key supportive nutrients and phytochemicals: milk thistle, it's an antioxidant, so it's protecting against free radical damage that occurs during detoxification. It helps maintain glutathione levels, that's super important aspect of detox. Silymarin is the active ingredient, and it's a liver protector. Milk thistle stabilizes liver cells, their membranes. It regenerates liver cells. It boosts the liver's ability to filter toxins. It dampens lipoxygenase and NF-kappa beta, and it inhibits inflammation, essentially. So super important. NAC, N-acetylcysteine, is the precursor to glutathione. It's an amino acid. It protects the liver against free radicals. It makes the body's intracellular glutathione. It's important in phase 2 detox. It assists in chelating heavy metals or binding those metals, and it supports the lungs via anti-mucus and antioxidant properties. So it's a great supplement to take if you have phlegm or congestion in your lungs or sinus issues. Alpha-lipoic acid detoxifies both fat and water-soluble toxins, and it's proven to reverse cognitive decline in animals, so it could very well in humans because it detoxifies the toxins out of the brain. And liver-supportive foods are beets, carrots, bitter greens like dandelion, rapini, radicchio, lemon, lime, garlic, onion, leek, radish, wasabi, banana, wild blueberries, celery juice, and fenugreek sprouts. Curcumin. Curcumin is the active component of turmeric. It's involved in phase 2 conjugation, so phase 2 detox, and the binding of the toxins. It's antiviral, it's an antioxidant, it's anti-inflammatory, and it may slow down blood cancers like multiple myeloma. So it's a great supplement to take, curcumin, or adding turmeric into the diet in some way. Turmeric is part of the heavy metal detox smoothie that I have my patients do. 1 teaspoon of turmeric added to that, because it does so many great things for the body. Artichoke protects the liver from environmental and infection caused by toxins, and artichoke stimulates bile flow. Broccoli sprouts. So doing sprouts is not difficult. You just need to soak the seeds overnight in water and then rinse them twice a day, and they need to be drained. They need to be draining at all times. So broccoli sprouts are super tiny little seeds. They need to be done in a sprouting bag, ideally. And they provide some of the most concentrated sulforaphanes. So this is the really important chemical in them that stimulates detoxification or enhances detoxification. It actually increases the activity of phase 2 enzymes. And L-glutamine helps heal the intestinal tract and is a major source of energy for intestinal cells and involved in detoxification as well. So when we talk about glutathione, think AID, AID, master antioxidant, immune support, and detoxifier. It's produced by the liver. It stimulates the immune system, protects from disease, quenches free radicals, which prevent aging, chronic disease, help preserve memory. Without glutathione, we die. The deficiency leads to oxidative stress, leading to the development of all chronic disease. And detoxification protects us from toxins that cause cancer and chronic diseases. Toxins, as I mentioned, block the absorption of nutrients, and they block the release of cellular metabolites, preventing normal cellular function. So glutathione can be used for any condition. You know, I've listed a bunch of conditions at the bottom there, but if there's any chronic disease going on, adding glutathione in will help tremendously. And again, as I mentioned, you know, taking it orally, it doesn't get absorbed. It needs to be either NAC and acetylcysteine, the precursor, taken orally, or you get glutathione in an IV, which I do with patients. So the best foods for liver health, we need to be keeping the fats and oils low during a detox. So we can have small amounts of the ones on the left, so 15% or less, avocado, nuts, seeds, olives, coconut oil, olive oil, hemp seed oil. So that's 15% of the diet or less. And meats all contain saturated fat. So during a detox, we're avoiding meat. In general, the diet should include plenty of fruits and vegetables, including apples, leafy greens, lots of vegetables, and all vegetables are fine. Potatoes, yams, squash, radish, wasabi, and horseradish, millets, quinoa, and oats, so gluten-free grains, some legumes, and fish and game meat could be eaten, but ideally not on a strict detox. Just in general, these are healthier. For detoxification, what is best is a 75 to 90% raw food diet. So it's raw fruits and vegetables mostly, 1 ounce of filtered water per, it's supposed to be pound of body weight with lemon or lime. So I'm 120 pounds, so I need to be drinking 120 ounces of water every day. The easiest is to drink a liter at a time. So that's 4 8-ounce glasses at a time. That's just the easiest way to get it in, I find. So first thing in the morning, 4 glasses, you know, mid-morning, another 4, early afternoon, another 4. So basically you could drink it an hour before a meal or 2 hours after a meal or longer. We also need to be eating often throughout the day, every 90 to 120 minutes, because all of our cells require the glucose basically. To function properly. Our brains require glucose often to function properly. Otherwise, we starve our cells and the adrenal glands have to secrete adrenaline, and adrenaline is corrosive and it's causing more damage. We need to be eating plenty of leafy greens. They're full of minerals. Fruit smoothies and heavy metal detox smoothies are good, really good, ensuring optimal bowel movements. So the fiber in the vegetables, water. If people have problems with bowel function, adding ground flax seeds with water. If needed, raising feet up on a stool when you go to the bathroom, that helps as well. Coffee enemas are super important. They actually open up the bile ducts so that you can release higher amounts of toxins through the bile. And gentle exercise is important to move the lymph. The lymph is part of the detox system. It's just below the skin surface and it carries the toxins out. And colon hydrotherapy, as I mentioned, loosens all the impacted fecal matter that lines the colon, and there's no other way to get that out effectively. What else is needed? Perspiration. We need to sweat out toxins, especially the PCBs, dioxins. Exercise moves the lymph and stimulates the P450 cytochrome system via respiration. We can scrape our tongues, brush our skin, like dry skin brushing. And that, if we brush it from our feet up towards our heart and from our hands up our arms, that moves the lymph towards the blood, towards the heart, in order to speed up detoxification. A lot of toxins come out of the tongue, so you can, you'll notice that when you're detoxing, your tongue will become thick and muddy looking. So you can scrape it or brush it. It should, I think, when you brush your teeth, you should always brush your tongue every day anyway. Infrared saunas are excellent. They help us sweat faster than a traditional sauna and help us release phthalates, which are hormone disruptors that are found in milk, butter, and meats. And those phthalates can't be chelated out. They can't be bound to anything and pulled out. Like the binders I talked about earlier, they have to be sweated out. PCBs, dioxins, volatile organic hydrocarbons must be sweated out, and infrared sauna works by radiant heat. You can't see it, but you can feel it, and the rays penetrate the body 1.5 inches, causing molecular dance to occur with water and chemicals beneath the skin, extracting them as sweat. So it's very effective. Clean up what you can. So these are a list of many toxins that we're being exposed to, and I've mentioned a lot of them already, but you can see the list of what we're exposed to there. Natural cleaners. Don't use harsh chemicals at home or at work. Dr. Bronner's concentrate is great for floors, bathrooms, counters, stoves, etc. Soak produce in food grade hydrogen peroxide or white vinegar and water for at least 15 minutes, or ideally you get the best water filter where you're soaking it in 11 pH alkaline water. Clean things with baking soda, lemon juice, and vinegar when you can. If you're not using Dr. Bronner's, use biodegradable laundry detergent, Borax, dryer balls. These are wool balls, and there's also rubber ones that are kind of spiky. They're Nellies. The brand is Nellies, so those work like a fabric softener. Avoid personal care products with known carcinogens. Use natural organic options instead. We're absorbing everything we put on our bodies, so it's as if we're eating it. So just also perfumes are highly toxic, and they cause weight gain and hormone disruption. So I recommend not using perfumes or any plug-in fragrances of any kind, fragrances in anything really. It's all toxic chemicals. On average, women add more than 200 chemicals to their skin daily. More than 60% get absorbed directly into the bloodstream. But avoid these three in particular: propylene glycol, which is in toothpaste, shampoo, cosmetics, deodorants, lotions, baby wipes, processed foods. Sodium lauryl sulfate is a degreaser in most soaps, shampoos, and toothpastes. And diethylamine DEA, which is in home and personal care products, soap, shampoos, lotions, cosmetics, bubble baths, laundry, and dishwashing detergents. It's carcinogenic. Just look on the ingredients list. I think a lot of toothpaste, conventional toothpaste, add sugar to them as well, which doesn't really make sense when you're trying to avoid cavities. Toxic exposure. Dental fillings contain mercury, which that's the silver fillings, which causes neurological damage and disease. Again, linked to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, MS, ALS, ADD, ADHD, OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder, and autism. High fructose corn syrup is full of mercury. That's been proven, and it's in all conventional sweet drinks, or many. Conventional sunblock contains a toxic chemical, oxybenzene, which causes thyroid and sex hormone issues and is carcinogenic, cancer-causing, which is what we're trying to prevent. And large fish such as tuna, swordfish, bass, king mackerel, orange roughy, shark, tilefish, and bluefish, because they're so large, they accumulate a lot of heavy metals in them. So we want to be avoiding them. So, detox support. What can we do? We can do rebounding, which is gently bouncing on a mini trampoline, or just moving, just exercising in some way, yoga, walking, swimming, etc. Dry skin brushing, I mentioned, brushing from your feet all the way up your body towards your heart, from your hands up your arms towards your heart, down your neck towards your heart. Castor oil packs. So castor oil helps stimulate detoxification. So you can saturate flannel and put it on over your liver or over your intestines and your liver, and then you put clear plastic on top and then heat on top of that, and it soaks in and it really helps stimulate detoxification. Juice fasting and water fasting are excellent ways of stimulating detoxification. So they both deliver, well, juice delivers concentrated nutrients to the bloodstream to then be delivered to every cell in the body. And it gives the body a break from using all of its energy to digest food and deal with all the fiber in it, so that the body can use its energy to focus on detoxification. And water fasting is even more powerful than juice fasting, but much more difficult to do. So a 1-day water fast a month would be fine, and a 1 to 7 day juice fast every, I don't know. I don't know how often. It just depends on the person, what they're able to handle. Coffee enemas and colonics are excellent, as I mentioned, and mud baths are great because mud will bind to metals. So you can add mud, a spoon or two of powdered mud that you get from a health food store. Vogel is a brand that's good. You add it to your bath. Signs that you're detoxifying. So when you go on a detox, signs, these things will show you that you're eliminating the toxins. So your tongue coat will become thick, that you can scrape it off. You may come out with blemishes through the skin, which is toxins coming out. You may feel aching. You may have a drawing sensation, pulling down from your hips. You may be emotionally sensitive or depressed, but that only lasts short, a day or two. You may have flu-like symptoms, feel uneasy or malaise. That's a sign of the liver being stimulated. You may have short-term fever, and pain may return, but it will go away. I mentioned about coffee enemas. It's one of the most powerful ways to ensure your liver's bile ducts are open and able to move toxins out of the liver to the kidney and out the urine, or to the bile and out the feces. So the recipe for one enema is 3 rounded tablespoons of coffee. It needs to be light roast ground coffee. 3 rounded tablespoons and 32 ounces of filtered distilled water. Bring it to a boil. You boil it for 3 minutes, then you cover it and simmer it for 15 minutes. Cool it, strain it. Replace any lost water to restore it to 1 quart, or basically 4 cups. And it needs to be body temperature, so it needs to be lukewarm. You pour it into an enema bucket. It's got some tubing and it's got a tip that you lubricate, and you make a little nest on the floor of the bathroom. You put the enema bucket on the counter. You let the coffee run through it into the sink to start with. You clamp it, and then you lie down on the floor and you insert it and open up the clamp and let the coffee run in. And you leave it in for 15 minutes. And then you go to the bathroom. And as I mentioned, it opens up the bile ducts so that you release the maximum amount of toxins out. It's absolutely essential, especially for people that are suffering from a chronic disease. If they don't do coffee enemas, they will not release the toxins, and they will definitely go into a healing crisis, and they're going to suffer with pain and malaise, and it's not a good scene. So this is the way to avoid that. Cancer patients doing natural Gerson therapy do up to 5 coffee enemas per day. So these are like stage 4 cancer patients that go to a healing institute. The Gerson Institute is in Tijuana, Mexico, and they do up to 5 enemas a day, and they actually are able to heal from stage 4 cancer in many cases by doing this and juice fasting and the other aspects of the Gerson program. So increase the number of coffee enemas per day as needed by the severity of the detox symptoms. For example, if you're in a lot of pain, you want to be doing more coffee enemas. And I find after I do a coffee enema, I feel so relaxed. I feel like I'm walking on pillows. It's a wonderful feeling. The last one can be done in the night, like at 2 a.m. if you wake up in pain, because it will greatly reduce the amount of pain, because pain is being caused by toxins, which are causing inflammation. So I've created a detox powder, and this is what it includes. It's vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and herbs that assist in binding to and eliminating heavy metals and other toxins from the liver, lymphatic system, and throughout the body. The specific ingredients strengthen the immune system, repair the central nervous system, and destroy viruses and bacteria. So you can see the list of ingredients. I've put the most important ones in: spirulina, B12, vitamin C, zinc, melatonin, lemon balm, magnesium, burdock, GABA, some of the B vitamins, and probiotics to support all the mentioned systems in the body. Detox teas are super important. They're part of my detox program as well. I've put together a blend that includes these herbs. So an anti-chlorine fluoride tea would have blackberry, raspberry, hibiscus, and rose hips, but even just one of those herbs would help you detoxify chlorine and fluoride. So I've chosen raspberry leaf. For pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, any of these, burdock root, which actually has to be simmered as a decoction in water rather than made as an infusion or a tea. Red clover, lemon verbena, and ginger. And so lemon verbena is the herb that I chose for pesticides, herbicides, fungicides. For plastics, fenugreek, and I mentioned fenugreek sprouts, but you can make a tea with fenugreek. You can make a tea with mullein or olive leaf or lemon balm. They all help to get the plastics out, and lemon balm is really key to killing Epstein-Barr virus, which most of us have. So in my detox tea that I've blended together for my program participants, it has the lemon balm and the mullein leaf in it. And for cleaning solvents out of the body, calendula and chamomile, bladder wrack, and borage. And in my tea, I've chosen chamomile and calendula. And for radiation, kelp, dulse, dandelion, and nettle. And in my tea, we've got nettle and dandelion, and then the Atlantic dulse is in the heavy metal detox smoothie. And it's in the heavy metal detox or heavy metal extractor product that I created. So to make the tea, it's one tablespoon per cup, and you steep it for 20 minutes. You can make a big batch. You can keep it refrigerated and warm up 1 cup at a time before drinking. So you could choose one herb from each category that I mentioned, or I have the bags available to buy the mix that I've put together. Lemon balm, super important, easy to grow. It tastes delicious as a fresh tea rather than dried, but it's fine dried. It just tastes so lemony and wonderful when it's fresh. It's the most important herb for killing bacteria and viruses. It strengthens the immune system. It kills Epstein-Barr virus in the thyroid and elsewhere and prevents thyroid nodule growth. It reduces inflammation. It soothes the nervous system by killing viruses that inflame the nerves. Kills bacteria, viruses, and fungus that inflame the digestive tract and cause allergies. And it kills the cofactors of viruses behind Lyme's disease, which is strep, E. coli, Bartonella, Babesia, Mycoplasma pneumonia, Chlamydia, pneumonia, and Candida. Those are all involved in Lyme's. So lemon balm's amazing. Juice fasting, as I mentioned, to deliver concentrated nutrients to the cells without fiber, gives the body a break from digestion to use its energy for detoxification. You can choose one juice and drink it throughout the day, or you can rotate juices. This is what they do at the Gerson Institute in Tijuana. They rotate the juices. And ideally, well, what they do is they drink 8 ounces freshly made juice every hour. So celery juice, apple carrot, carrot alone, greens juice, which is a mix of various lettuces, you know, kale, spinach, bell peppers, and then orange or grapefruit juice, although grapefruit I wouldn't recommend for a detox because it inhibits phase 1. And then beet, carrot, celery, cucumber, ginger is another one that can be done. I love beet, carrot, apple, ginger, and you can add celery to that if you want. It's delicious. And you know, it's not that hard. You can drink as often as you need to throughout the day, but ideally you'd be drinking it freshly made, each glass freshly made if possible. If you have a good juicer like a Champion, which I do, which I bought over 20 years ago, it's a slow juicer, and so it doesn't heat the juice up the way cheaper juicers do, the fast juicers. And so it doesn't, the juice lasts longer. It doesn't oxidize and it doesn't lose its nutrients the way the fast juicers cause a loss of nutrients. And the juices taste much better with a slow juicer. So I think it's a really good investment buying a juicer and having it for the rest of your life so that you can do juice fasting every so often. You know, I was in the routine at one point a few years ago where I was doing a coffee enema on the Sunday night and a juice fast Monday, all day Monday. And you're just so full of energy. Your skin glows. You know, it's amazing. You feel amazing. So you don't have to feel hungry. You just have to drink often. And it's worth investing. You know, you go through a lot of produce juicing, but imagine the concentrated nutrients you're getting. And especially if you're getting organic, so much nutrition. You can't help but feel amazing. And it's worth investing in your health, right? What else do we have, really? We've got one body to get us through this lifetime. It's worth investing in. So, celery only. The way to juice this is you take the head of celery, you remove the leaves, you cut the base off and the sticks, and you scrub them and soak them in hydrogen peroxide and water or in high alkaline water. And then you feed it through the juicer and serve it and drink it immediately. Apple carrot, it's all pretty straightforward. Oh yeah, here's the green juice. So romaine, leaf lettuce, endive, escarole, red cabbage, inner beet top, Swiss chard, green pepper, watercress, and an apple. You don't have to do all of it. You just choose what you want to do, but you get the idea. So this is my core healing immune and antiviral formula. It's also a powder. So again, it's got herbs, nutrients, amino acids that strengthen the immune system, kill viruses, including Epstein-Barr, HPV, cytomegalovirus, and bacteria, including staph and strep, and protect the glands and organs from bacterial and viral infection and inflammation. So here's a list of ingredients on the right: cat's claw, zinc, B12, licorice root, lemon balm, methylfolate, which is the body-ready form of folic acid, selenium, lysine, spirulina, vitamin C, nettle, elderberry, curcumin, and chromium, and all the what each of these are doing physiologically in the body. And a one-day juice fast, or one-day detox, this is what it would look like. This would be the easiest way to do it. You drink 16 ounces of lemon water on waking and 8 ounces every hour. And the key is, so that you're not urinating throughout the day, is that you just take a little pinch of sea salt after each glass, or with each glass. And then 8 to 16 ounces of celery juice, half an hour after that. And then you do a detox smoothie, potentially with my detox powders and with specific fruits and vegetables and herbs. And then you rotate juices, and then you drink detox tea during the day or before bed, and you do a coffee enema or a colonic. So that would be an idea for a one-day detox. For a longer detox, you could do a 3-day juice fast, you could do a 7-day juice fast, you could do a 3 to 7-day juice fast, followed by a 1-day water fast. Or you don't have to do a juice fast, you could just eat low fat, low protein, no meat or fish, mostly raw fruits and vegetables. You could do vegetable soups, cooked quinoa in salads, or eaten like a porridge, oats or muesli, chickpeas, lentils, specific herbs, detox tea, coffee enemas, detox powders or supplements with some of those ingredients to support detox. Lemon water, celery juice. Celery juice needs to be on an empty stomach. And you do a detox as long as needed, depending on the severity of your health conditions, or weight issues, or energy issues. And you want to be avoiding gluten, dairy, corn, soy, eggs, coffee, alcohol, junk and processed foods, sugar, canola oil, and mayonnaise. And packaged foods, because they'll have, toxic chemicals in them in most cases. So that's what a longer detox looks like. As I mentioned, it's so important that you're eliminating those toxins through the bowels. So ensuring that the colon is clean is essential, in my opinion. And you should be going after every meal. So how do you feel afterwards? Why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this to feel and look amazing, to eliminate toxins, and to address all causes of disease, really. So you feel fresh, well rested, full of energy. Our skin glows. We feel positive and peaceful. No or very little joint and muscular pain and tension. Basically, all symptoms reverse and the body heals. That's when you know you're done. All your symptoms are gone. And then ideally, because we're constantly exposed to toxins, we would do it a couple of times a year, like in the spring and in the fall are perfect times to be doing a detox. So I offer an online 4, 6, or 12-week detox where I'm giving my ongoing supports. There's one-on-one consults. There's group group meetings. There's health lessons. There's webinars on all aspects of health. There's a detox recipe book, a detox manual to follow, a daily accountability form, a weekly healing chart. There's an enema kit. My 3 products are included: a heavy metal extractor, immune antiviral, and the detox powder. And I did not I talked about the heavy metal detox part of it, and so the ingredients on that slide were in this presentation earlier. So yeah, I created a heavy metal extractor product with the Atlantic dulse, the barley grass juice, and the spirulina. So thank you so much for joining me tonight in our detox webinar. I hope you learned things that you might not have known and realize how important it is to detoxify and how amazing you can feel. I've taken 3 groups through my online detox program, and everyone's lost weight in inches when they needed to, reversed symptoms, learned a lot about how to eat properly and how to be prepared so that you're not stranded and forced to eat garbage somewhere. And once you detoxify, your body's so clean that you will react to toxic food. But that's a good thing, because that way you know what's not good for you. So then you have to be careful, and you will be able to eat small amounts of some things that aren't the healthiest, but you won't want to, because they're not going to make you feel good. So ideal diet, mostly fruits and vegetables, a small amount of meat or fish, only at dinner time, 4 ounces ideally max, plenty of filtered alkaline water from ideally the best water filter on the market, which we talked about in our webinar, Ron Oliver and I, the water expert. And doing things to bind those heavy metals and toxins and get them out, supporting the liver with all of those important nutrients, which I have in my powders, but which you can also buy in supplements. I just created powders to make it cheaper and easier for people to get in, and they can put them all into that heavy metal detox smoothie in the morning. So thanks again, everyone. And I'll be working on another webinar. I think I'll do one on the immune system next. I think it's a good idea. I needed it myself when I got sick a couple weeks ago, but there's some bad bugs going around, and 2 nights of no sleep doesn't help. So anyways, take care, and thanks again.